2 of the full layout tour this week, and we're looking at my second layout, which is Misselthwaite. So the first thing you're probably wondering is, why do you have 2 layouts? And the reason for that is the main layout that I showed last week I built when I was at university, so I was still living with my parents then, so I'd work on it when I was back in the summer holidays, Christmas holidays, things like that. And then since graduating uni 2 years ago or something like that, I got a job, saved up and bought a house. So this layout is in my house, the main layout is in my parents' loft. So in order for me to film a full video with the train running all the way around the first layout and then onto this layout as well, I have to transport the stock between the two, which isn't too much of a problem really, because I take some stock between the layouts anyway, just to give some trains a run when I'm visiting my parents or staying with them or something. And I've also got enough stock at this point where I've got set rakes on this layout and set rakes of coaches on the other layout too, so it's just a matter of boxing up a couple of locos and getting them back out when I get to the other layout. So the next question probably is, well, why have you built the layout on the floor? Is that not a bit inconvenient? Well, in my office I've got an alcove almost, where the roof slopes down. If you can see that there under these beams. So it's a perfect space to have a layout really, and I don't really mind lying on the floor and operating it. You can get quite close to the track and get some good shots, keep the camera steady. So I'll zoom out a bit to give you a better view of kind of where this is situated in the room. Another question I've had is, well, where's the storage yard? And I've built the layout so the storage yard is behind my desk. So the track runs into this tunnel here, and as you can see just there, it runs out onto a board, and the storage yard is just behind the desk, so I'll go behind there and show you now. Excuse the camera angle here, it's a little bit difficult to film behind, but you can see the storage yard there, behind all the cables that I've got running behind, going to my computer and things like that. But I've got 3 storage lanes. The first one can hold a 6-coach train and a large locomotive. The next one, what's that, 5 coaches I think, and a locomotive. And then the other one about the same, but I tend to use that for goods. So it runs just to there. And then underneath I've got, like the cables, wiring, things like that, just kind of keeps them tucked out the way. Right, I've wedged myself under the desk now to try and get these shots. So we've got the long storage lane just there. You have to be a bit careful because sometimes the trains can hit the cables, but I've got them set up so everything's clear of them at the minute. And we've got the slightly shorter lane, and then the freight lane here as well. And then coming into the storage yard, I've got a curved point, pico curved point at the front there, and then a pico medium radius point just there. Again, they're both hand operated, so I just reach around, switch those. And then in between the desk and the layout here, there's a little gap, so this is where I just reach in and just switch the points when I need to. So I've unscrewed this front board to show you what it looks like inside. So there is the substructure under the layout, and as usual, you know, it's just the classic Mouldy raspberry botch job. But it doesn't matter whether it looks pretty or not, because, well, no one can see it, can they? So it doesn't matter what goes on in there. And again, that curve's flexi track. I'm trying to keep it as kind of wide as possible. So before we look at the actual layout, I thought I'd just quickly show how this one's controlled. Again, I've got a combi, Gagemaster combi controller, which I really like. They're pretty reliable and can't go wrong with them really. And I've just got that wide in under the layout, so I can just tuck that in there, or I've got a nice long cable that just pops out too, so I can kind of move around the room a bit and operate. So the first part of the scenic section of the layout is this farmhouse scene. So I've tried to build up the scenery quite high here, and the reason for that is one of the main places that I film from is down here, and I wanted something kind of up high on the hill there to kind of frame the shot as the trains come out the tunnel. It gives a good bit of perspective, and looks cool with the trees in the background as well. So I'll get a little bit closer. Again, this is just scratch built from Will's Plasticard, I think. I've got a few details and accessories there. Got the tractor. And then the big trees behind. I'm a big fan of making my own trees, really, because the stuff that you buy over the shelf, they tend to be really quite small. Whereas if you look at a tree in real life, they're way bigger than that. So I find the only way to really kind of get them huge is to build them yourself. So I think there's still maybe one or two bits to add here. It's a bit lifeless at the minute. I think I need a couple of people maybe outside doing something, and I think I'll paint a continuation of the road there, just to kind of going off into the distance to give a bit more perspective. I think that'll improve it a bit, but that's a project for another day, I think. So I'm not sure what the architect was thinking here, but he's put a window under a chimney. So I guess to look out, you've kind of got to stand in the fire. I'm not sure how that works, but you know, it's not my problem. So coming down here, you got the dry stone walls starting. These are from Osborne models, I think. They're like made of foam, so they're quite good. If you kind of knock them and bash them, you won't you know, knock them to pieces. On the other layout, I've used the cat litter technique, which is great because you can make, you know, ridiculous amount of walls for next to nothing. But on a smaller layout, I think these ones do look a bit better, but they're significantly more pricey. So yeah, on a big layout, I'd stick to the cat litter dry stone walls, because, well, you don't want to be spending hundreds of pounds on dry stone walls. So then we've got some sheep in the field, and then that takes us around here to the canal scene. But before we get to that, we've got the tunnel here. The trains run up the storage yard and run around this curve here under the tunnel, and then out onto the layout. So again, I've just tried to kind of frame this shot here with the dense trees on top, and the walls either side and across the top, and you can see the farmhouse up there on the hill. And we've got a few rusty old rails there by the side. Got this 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign coming out the station. Got the buffer stops there for the station head shunt, and some old sleepers. I think these kind of small details by the track make quite a big difference, especially when you're filming close up. So we've got the gradient sign there, the point locking mechanism, and then a little ground signal there as well. So all the ballast on the layout is Geoscenics, and to be honest, I wouldn't use anything else now. I've tried the Geoscenic stuff. It's just really, really good. And they do all sorts of weathering kits, steam mirror weathering kits, diesel weathering kits, all this kind of stuff that give you different kind of effects on the track. And that's how I've created all the goods yard kind of surface and things like that. So I'll get to that in a minute. But I'll put a link to all the Geoscenics kind of stuff I've used it in the description if you're interested and want to have a look. You can see here where I've done a point replacement and I haven't got around to weathering that yet. So you can see the rails are quite a bit more shiny. So coming around a bit further, then you've got these two cottages here, and they are also scratch built. Yeah, it's the same materials to make these as well. The wheels, stone sheets, and accessories and windows and things like that. And we've got the road outside. This is a Geoscenics kit as well. I think that it's called their pothole road kit. And I just really like the kind of texture that it gives. So again, if you've got some roads to do on your layout and you want them to be, a bit rough and like you'd kind of see out in the sticks a bit, it's definitely a good kit to try. Got the well there as well. And then these are models of two individuals that watched the videos and kindly sent them to me, so that's a very cool addition. So the canal scene is next. Then I've got this bridge, and then it looks like the signal box is on top of the bridge. It's actually off to the side a bit. So the tunnel entrance is, I think it's Model Scene that make them. I think they're about £4 or something. You can repaint them pretty easily and they look quite good. The same as that tunnel entrance over there. I always tend to use those. That's a single, that's a double. And then we've got the canal boat there on the water. The water is just PVA glue painted onto like a kind of dark murky background colour. I used PVA because I wanted to see how it compared to the Woodland Scenics water that I've used on the other layout, and to be fair, I'm quite happy with it. Looks fine. The canal boat is, I think I got it off eBay for about £8 or £9. It's just like a 3D printed model that someone's selling. I'll try and remember to put a link in for that as well. Then I got two guys just sorting the coal out there. And then we've got the entrance to the station here. So we've got the signal box. We've got a little cabin there. We've got a line side hut. And then we've got the toilet. This chap's on his way there right now with his newspaper tucked under his arm for a light reading. So yeah, I've got the signal box there. We've got this guy just having a look at what's going on. And we've got the walkway is just like McDonald's coffee stirrers. I use them for everything really, they're very good. Then we've got the point rod in there as well. And then we come to the station itself. So one last point on this section then before we move on to the station. Remember on the last video I kind of kept saying that I like to build the layout so I can get below the track, and again it's more of the same here. I've tried to build this layout with filming in mind and just viewing it from certain angles, I guess. And so having the camera here, you can kind of get to the same level as the trains. You've got interesting things going on in the foreground. You've got interesting things going on in the background. And you don't really need a back scene, I don't think, if you can kind of frame it in this way with the trees and things like that. I mean, there is a painted back scene, again, like on the other layout. Can't really see, it's just like kind of green hills. Then I've just gone with white again, like a kind of cloudy sky like it often is in Yorkshire. Yeah, and I think that just frames the shot quite nicely. I've got the pannier tank whizzing by now. Just quickly touching on the lighting. So I've ran a cable up there and then along the back of this beam here on the roof. And then I've just got 2 bulbs, and again, they're just LED energy saver bulbs from B&Q, I think. So there's the first one, and there's the second one. So just the 2 bulbs lighting the layout for the same reason as the other one, really. I like the kind of the effect it gives, the shadows it gives, and it almost kind of gives it a bit of a kind of sunrise or sunset kind of look to it. Okay, so moving round, we've got in the foreground here, small embankment, more dry stone walls, got a little stile there, and of course some more sheep. I'll just get up a bit higher so you can kind of see, you know, the track plan here. So we've got a retaining wall at the back, more scenery behind, more of the same really, just a big long row of trees, some high trees there. We've got the signal. The bottom of the signal is the ratio kit. The top is like one of the Hornby signals, which is a bit chunky and oversized, but I'm not really too bothered about that. And then we've got the entrance to the goods yard there, and then the track running through the station, and then the run around loop as well. So again, it's all medium radius points on this layout too. And then we've got the goods yard. So the goods yard's reasonably long, but it's quite, you know, it's not very deep because, well, I'm quite limited for space here really. And as I mentioned earlier, this is all Geoscenics products on the track, and the surface of the goods yard as well. And then we've got the coal stapes at the back there. And then we've got the platform in front of that. All the same kind of techniques and things that I've used on the main layout, to be honest. So I won't go into all that again. Goods shed is a laser cut kit that I got off eBay, I think, and repainted it because I just wanted something a bit different to what I had on the other layout, and I didn't really fancy scratch building one up of plasticard. Okay, so coming around a bit further then, we've got the Dapol water tower again there. I've got the same one on the main layout. I've got a lorry there ready to be loaded up. And then the siding runs to the end there. You've got the buffer stops just down there. Then in the foreground there, you've got some details on the platform. You've got the notice board with all sorts going on. Advert for the Blue Pullman, a few other bits and bobs. And then we've got the station building itself. So this is another laser cut kit that I think I got on eBay for about £18 or something. And it's pretty good, to be honest, when you paint it, and it, you know, you've kind of got a few details around it and in front of it. I might have a go at building one out, scratch building one like I have on the other layout for this, but I kind of just wanted something ready to go. And then behind that building you've got the road access to the station there, and then the path leading out with some cottages, and that path kind of would lead back into the town. So again, these cottages are scratch built. I've still got a bit to do there. You can kind of see that dark green kind of gap there. I've got to do something with that and kind of fill that in a bit. And then I think I'm going to have some more trees behind that or something to kind of frame the shot and cover up this gap between the boards. Need to bring that one forward a little bit to fill that in, but I'll get to that eventually. Then outside the station we've got more benches and details, things like that. We've got the telephone box there, a little kind of lean-to hut that's built onto the side, and then the end of the platform there and the bus stops, and then of course more trees. Got a cattle dock there that's just made from Pico fencing, I think. Then a bit of a head shunt there with the wagon in it. And then that is the end of the layout. So to give you an overview then, we've got the storage yard under there, got the tunnel there, the short scenic section, and then we've got the station. So I hope that was useful and gives you a bit of an idea of how this layout works and fits together. And thanks for watching. Cheers.